I would like to greet you all with love and respect. The Symposium of International Maritime Law and Eastern Mediterranean, from the perspective of history, politics, and inter-country relations, has brought us together, and I wish the best of success and thank to all the institutions and universities who made this symposium possible. In the person of the Speaker of the Turkish Grand National Assembly, I would like to thank to the Assembly for having organized this symposium. And I would like to thank to all the professors who contribute to the symposium. In the beginning of my words, I would like to once again condemn Armenia, which attacked the Azerbaijani territories. Turkey, with its own means, will continue to stand with our Azerbaijani brothers and sisters and the sisterly country Azerbaijan. It is now about time to end the crisis that has started in Upper Karabakh. The occupied territories by Azerbaijan should be, by Armenia, should be left, and only then the peace and stability will prevail in the region. Other threats or actions will only be illegitimate and unright and will continue to spoil Armenia. All the developments unfolding in the region demands all the relevant states to find a just solution for the region, and it has given an opportunity to all those international community members, and this opportunity should be seized. In particular, Minsk III, the US, France, and Russia, until this very day, approximately for 30 years, have not solved this problem, and they have done all they could in their power in order not to solve this problem. And now they're passing around judgments and from time to time pose threats. What is this threat? They ask, are the Turkish soldiers there? Is Turkey there? Those people who speak those words, are they aware that they are the ones who carried thousands of trucks of weapons to the North Syria? These are the people who established bases in Syria, and those people are again the ones who freely walk around Syria, and now they are asking if Turkey is present in the region and if the Turkish military is deploying weapons or troops to the region. And it seems like they expect the president of Azerbaijan, Mr. Aliyev, to be held accountable. They have been engaged in actions to solve the problem already for 30 years, the Azerbaijani people, and they asked to end this problem. And whose are those territories occupied? These are the territories of Azerbaijan. You accept that fact, and you accept the facts about Upper Karabakh. And almost 1 million people have now been displaced, and they live in Azerbaijani territories, while on the other hand, the occupiers are living in that very region. And Azerbaijan has said it's now time to hold people accountable, and now they have had to take the matters to their own hands. Distinguished participants, the presidents of universities and the Speaker of the Turkish Parliament shared their opinions with us, and they addressed very crucial subjects about the Mediterranean. During the sessions to be held today and as well tomorrow, estimable academics will address the issues related with the Mediterranean in greater detail. As we always reiterate, the realities can only be revealed by way of discussion. So the sparks of realities will only come to our way if we exchange opinions. Listening to different opinions and criticism is what we have to do. And our Prophet, peace be upon him, also said negotiation will never make people regret. Therefore, in our political actions for more than 40 years, and in all walks of life and in each and every field of life, we have placed a great level of importance on negotiation and sharing of know-how and exchanging opinions. In particular, when it comes to the matters that concern our country, we have always taken different views into account. And thank God we have reaped the fruits of that approach both in our political life and also in the administration of the state. And we have always seen the positive outcomes of this very approach. Therefore, you also should not set walls in between your opinions and your thoughts. You should share your ideas frankly. Always keep in mind that as the state's figures who bear the burden of the state responsibility, we have a great need to share and also to hear from you. Every alternative approach that you would put forward is of great value for us. And the outcomes of this symposium will not, of course, only concern the scientists, the academics, or students. It will also open up horizons for politicians like us. Distinguished participants, when it comes to the matters concerning the Mediterranean, we know that many states and as well our country have been occupied. Many countries, coastal states or non-coastal states, have been keeping a close track on the developments unfolding in the region. They are willing to get involved. The global politics, in particular, for the past recent years, has been shaped by the developments unfolding in the Mediterranean. It will not be wrong to say that Turkey, as the country that has the longest coastline to the Mediterranean, of course, attaches great importance to the developments in the Mediterranean. Every move in the region, every step taken in the region, of course, has a direct impact on our interests and politics. And rich hydrocarbon resources are of one of the subjects addressed as regards the region. And the studies indicate that the natural gas reserve has a capacity of 3.5 trillion cubic meters. This figure is sufficient to meet the needs of the continental Europe for decades, and of course, with no doubt, this is a great source. And recently, many countries' provocations are based on this very economic potential. Many international corporations also have been involved in this matter, and the East Mediterranean has now been put in the very core, in the very center of matters of discussion and controversies. But I have to underline one subject here. The interest of Turkey in the region is not to be limited with the energy resources available in the region, and it will be only a narrow-minded opinion if one says so, because Turkey firstly is a country of the Mediterranean. We are not a guest here, but the host of the region. And we celebrated the naval victory yesterday, and it is one of the most glorious symbols of our presence, our existence in the region. This war was victorious for our side with the leadership of Barbaros Hayrettin Pasha, and this geography hosted many civilizations for centuries And only after this victory, this place had the chance for peace to prevail. And this geography, of course, has been very important, and this era of history was the golden age of the time. With that, the Balkans, Middle East, and North Africa also experienced the most peaceful period of history up in the victory, marking the 5th century of Ottoman victories in the region. I also would like to commemorate Yavuz Sultan Selim conquering Egypt. Yavuz Sultan Selim brought the caliphate to Egypt, and we remember him not only through, of course, verbiage, but in true sense of the words. And the fact that we have named the bridge after him in Istanbul is the testament of our respect to him. And the Ottoman peace built in the Mediterranean after that time, unfortunately throughout history, received a big impact, and colonialism started to take rule. And then the imperialists had the chance to bring their own plans into practice. Northern Africa and Sahara Africa, a major part of this region, came under the captivity of the powers of the region. They cared more about a drop of oil or a piece of gold more than the blood shed, and they turned the Mediterranean into a sea of blood and tears. Under the reign of the imperialists, the Mediterranean unfortunately faced conflicts, atrocities, and clashes, and most recently it has become known through the bodies of the refugees that washed offshore, onshore, and this now has become a rule of a violent order, and it turned the Mediterranean a giant cemetery of refugees. And this is because of this irregular perspective, this crooked perspective about the region. This mentality that defamed many civilizations is indeed the biggest enemy of our civilization. Those who do escalate the tensions in the Mediterranean are the members of the same mindset. Distinguished guests, the Ottoman civilization left a legacy of peace in the Mediterranean, and we want the climate of peace to be rebuilt in the region. Turkey sides with peace, stability, equity, and justice in the Mediterranean, not conflicts. We stand against the imperialist expansionism in the Mediterranean, and we are as well against the single-sided approaches. The Mediterranean is not the sea that separates us, but it is what brings us closer. It is what makes us stronger and our cooperation stronger. It is as such, and it should be so. From Algeria to Tunisia, from Palestine to Israel, from Turkey to Italy, everywhere. The Mediterranean is the roof of our big family, and it is an umbrella for us to come under. We shall not isolate one another, but we can only solve the problems regarding the Mediterranean by bringing all the parties around the same table of negotiation. And any approach, any equation that does not include Turkey and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus will not bring about a solution about the matter. Artificial projects or ridiculous maps will fall short, will never bring peace to the Mediterranean. So now they're talking about a map. Who has drawn this map, and how come they have done so. It is not very difficult to do so, indeed. Now we can go to Istanbul University and Marmara University, as we have their members here. We can ask for a work, a study of map drawing, and they would prepare it in a very short period of time, and we can easily present it to the attention of the world. It is not a difficult thing or a challenge to do. It's that simple. But the matter here is indeed to change our perspectives, because the East Mediterranean issue is multi-dimensional, and we have to address the matter from a comprehensive point of view. And without that, we cannot find a right and equitable solution. We have experienced that in Cyprus very clearly. I was personally involved in this matter, and we came together back in time. We met, and Kofi Annan back in time was the host, and we started initiatives and worked day and night. But after all the work done, we sat at the table, and the South Cyprus Greek administration withdrew. And Kofi Annan said, I made a promise. I made a promise to Mr. Erdoğan, and I tried a few times to achieve that, and I failed. And I said, Kofi Annan said, I will not give it another try. And he then said, Erdoğan also made me a promise and said Turkey will not be the party who will leave the table. So we shall finish this matter, solve this matter here tonight, I said. And then what happened? Because Kofi Annan also persisted. The next week, a referendum was held in the country, and then the Turkish side voted to the favor of the solution by 60%, while the Greek side voted against by 70%. Despite that, the Southern Cyprus was admitted into the EU, but there was a promise. All the administrative and financial liabilities were to be met by the EU, they said, and they did not shoulder their responsibilities for Northern Cyprus, even though they had promised so. And the German Commission member Verheyden many times delivered presentations, speeches at conferences in Turkey, and always talked about how righteous Turkey was. So such people always sided with lies and never acted honestly. And from this time on, they will not act frankly or honestly, because it's a matter of characters. It's a matter of personality. Even though we address this subject in the context of Turkey and Greece, I clearly, very frankly, articulate that the main reason for this problem is the unrightful and maximalist assertion of Greece in the region. And the Turkish Cypriots were ignored, neglected, and Greece signed agreements with Egypt and Israel and Lebanon. And they did not get enough of the laws, what laws would provide them, but open international targets, attempted to receive permits, and started their first drilling by the end of 2012. And the necessary importance to be placed on Turkey's goodwills has not been possible. And the EU now yields to the demands of Greece and Greek Cypriot administration. And the laws of the international community, the international law, is now being violated, and therefore we have started pursuing our own journey. In particular, the delimitation of maritime jurisdiction agreement we signed with Libya, we have protected the rights and the interests of our country and as well Libya in the East Mediterranean, and we have made our cause even stronger. Distinguished friends, Turkey's East Mediterranean policy rises on two pillars. The first thing is related with the delimitation of maritime jurisdiction. This should be limited on the basis of justice and equity so that we can protect our continental shelf. The second thing is that the Turkish Cypriots have their rights and interests on the resources available in the East Mediterranean, and their rights should be taken under guarantee and protected. We will not yield to anyone in this matter, and we will not allow anyone to usurp our rights. We attach a priority to the solution of this problem on the basis of diplomacy and negotiations. We are open. We said we are open for dialogue with Greece without any preconditions. We also made a call to all the other countries for them to take the rights of all parties involved into account, and we made a proposal to organize a meeting where we would address all these matters. Bringing all those parties together, an energy cooperation forum we believe will be fruitful if we found so. In this matter, both international law and maritime law make us the right side, and we act on this principle. We will not compromise on our perspective of moderation, and we have declared to the whole world that we will be standing up for our rights and interests. And Turkey will be defending its own rights as well as the rights of the Turkish Cypriots all the way to the end. And we have clearly displayed this very attitude of our country. And this decisive, resolute stance of our country is related with what we have been speaking recently. Diplomacy and negotiation are not acts that indicate weakness. On the contrary, these are the methods for us to get to the solution through the shortest cut. And therefore, all the relevant parties should stop seeing the East Mediterranean issue as a zero-sum game. We should all come together. Let's make the Mediterranean Sea a basin of peace again. Let's not pollute the beautiful waters of the Mediterranean. Let's come together and make this matter a matter of cooperation, not conflict. We have always answered the calls for peace, and we have walked towards all those who walked towards us. And now the German Chancellor, Ms. Merkel, has initiated certain diplomacy work, and we support all such relevant diplomacy work all the way to the end. And we should be finding a formula which is based on a win-win perspective and which will contribute to all relevant parties. I pray that God will help us on this path, and as I conclude, I once again wish you all a very constructive, a very fruitful symposium, and once again thank to all those who contributed to the organization of this symposium. Thank you very much. Stay in health.
Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımıza hitaplarından dolayı teşekkürlerimizi sunuyoruz. Türkiye Büyük Millet Meclisi'nin himayelerinde Marmara Üniversitesi ve İstanbul Üniversitesi tarafından düzenlenen sempozyumumuz devam edecektir. Katılımlarıyla sempozyumumuzu onurlandıran Türkiye Cumhurbaşkanı Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'a sonsuz şükranlarımızı sunuyoruz efendim.